Hello everybody, welcome back to twitch.tv/jchensor, aka the Chensor Dynasty. I am your host, James Chen, also known as jchensor, although nobody calls me that anymore. And we are here for AskJCHENSOR, where you can talk about a little bit about what we talked about earlier on the Chen reaction, about, making games fun by having them be crazy. As opposed to nerfing everything all the time and just listening to people complaining all the time about fighting games. But we've been talking about a lot of fun things here. Let's see here. What questions do we have? If you want to put down at jchensor in the chat to talk and ask me questions, just make sure you put at jchensor in the chat or do the highlighted message thing with the new channel points that Twitch has implemented in there. So we have a use for the channel points. If you spend some channel points to talk to me here, then I will definitely make sure that I answer that question. So let's get some questions. So Violet Everly asks, where did you get that Baiken shirt? Yes, I just got this from 86.com. Love their shirt designs. It's a beautiful color scheme too. I love the blue and the pink. I think it worked out really well. Like if this was just Baiken on a black shirt, I wouldn't have liked it as much, but the fact that it's on the blue, I think is really nice. It's at 86.com. You can go there by using tinyurl.com/86jchensor. If you use that, and I will type that into the chat below over here, so you can see that on the side over here, the URL over there. Although it is line breaking, sorry about that. But if you do go to that site and purchase a shirt, use this link. It is my affiliate link, and I will make parts of the profits. I will earn a little bit of the profits as well for these shirts. I just got a bunch of new shirts, including the Eno shirt that you see down here on my banners over here. So if you just wait for a second, you'll see the Eno shirt pop up. Okay, it's Patreon first, and Eno shirt? Nope, not yet. Eno shirt right here, including that shirt right there. I'm excited about that. So there you go. If you want to grab some shirts from 86.com, they got a lot of great stuff. I even got a Mega Man shirt from them that I can't wait to wear as well. Yeah, so I'm going to wear that as well. But you going to teach me UNICLR? Asks Man of Peerless Might. I mean, if it wins the poll for the beginner lobby coming up next, then I will definitely be trying to teach you UNICLR. Best Ultra David Vulva Moment. I almost made a vulva joke, and then David started making all of them, so I was like, all right, you know what? He's got it handled. He's got it handled. So I really almost made one. So God, it's terrible. It was terrible. Let me see. How are you liking Londrekia in UNICLR? I actually don't know anything about Londrekia so far. I just know that Londrekia is full of ice. When I first started watching Londrekia, I thought it was a guy, and then I realized that Londrekia might be a girl, and I'm still not 100% sure right now. But just I think it's a girl, right? Is Londrekia a girl? I'm not even 100% sure. Definitely a guy, huh? Londrekia is a guy. Okay, I wasn't sure. Ken is bottom 5, huh? Okay, so Londrekia is a guy. Oh, that's a part of his story, huh? Yeah, they got heels. Okay, there we go. Okay. Well, how much time should a game have to breathe? DBFZ, for example, has promised only one major rebalance per year. Is that a problem when you end up with characters like GT Goku dominating for an entire season? No, I don't think that's too much of a problem, Nutacon. I think that's actually kind of a good way to do. 6 months is not actually that long in the grand scheme of things. So if you are, 6 months is a good amount of time to let breathe. I really feel like everybody should balance their games a little bit after EVO, just to see what the dominating strategy at EVO was. Plus, the other thing is, if you balance it a little bit too quickly, one, you lose players because it's hard for them to keep track of all the changes, and two, they could be practicing for EVO, and they're like, oh my gosh, I love GT Goku, because they legit love GT Goku as a character, and they're playing him, and they're like, like, okay, he's a little strong, but, you know, I really enjoy this character. And then they nerf him to oblivion, and all this practice that they had just basically goes for naught, right? It's kind of a frustrating situation. Eli Hendricks thinks that Ken is bottom 5. David was even just saying on commentary that he feels like Ken is much better now. Much, much better. So Speedwagon 33 says, let's pretend they're making a Mega Man fighting game. What Robot Master would you main if it had to be one of them? That is a crazy question because I'm not sure. There's so many Robot Masters. Can I definitively say which one I'd want to play? Man. It's like Mega Man 1, I'm a fan of Iceman. Maybe, but I mean, they're all cool. Fireman, I've always loved Fireman as well. Shout outs to Master J-Man for the continued subscription. Woo! Airman, I mean, he's actually kind of bottom tier. Airman's kind of like an idiot, right? I've never played the Dead Rising games, no. Proto Man, Pharaoh Man, he'd be super good. Except his power was never quite like what Mega Man does with it, which was kind of broken. Quick Man, huh? So I see a lot of early Mega Man fans here. Pharaoh Man, of course, for Mega Man 4. And, what was the one I saw? Quick Man. Someone mentioned Quick Man, right? Oh no, someone mentioned Gemini Man. Gemini Man. That's from 3. Always thought Elec Man would be cool. He's from 1. Again, I'm a big Mega Man fan. The original Mega Man. So I'm actually pretty good. I've always told that story that Justin called me out of nowhere one time. He's like, I'm in a video game trivia contest. Help me. Do you know the answer? I think you know the answer to this question. I was like, what's the question? And he was like, what are the 3 characters from the Mega Man series that if you defeat them, you get time-stopping powers? And I was like, oh, this guy, and this guy. And I gave him the answer right away. So always wonder if everybody else, who else could answer the question as quickly as I could. Oh, man. Yamato Man, Mega Man 6. Bottom 5 is like Dalsum, Ryu, Nash, Fang, and someone else. See, Fang isn't even bad. Fang isn't even bad in this season. Fang is really good, in my opinion. I did like Mega Man 11. I thought Mega Man 11 was very, very good. I'm still waiting to see if anybody in the chat knows who the Mega Man time-stopping guys are. I'm still waiting for that. See if anybody can actually name those characters for me. Jury is definitely not bottom 5. Whoa, that is crazy. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying, DE Climax. That makes sense. Well, in any case, nobody's answering the question, so I will answer. It was Flashman, Brightman, and Centaur Man. So those were the 3 characters that had the time-stopping powers right away. So, Goichi put out a Grand Blue versus tier, but I still hear people say it's too early for one. How long should a game be out to get an accurate opinion when it comes out to a tier list? You know, you can release tier lists anytime you want. Tier lists are opinions no matter what. Right? And it's just your opinion of what's happening with it, with the game at the moment. It's like tier lists reflect a period of time. And that's fine. So if people want to release tier lists early on, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think people are like, it's too early for tier lists. Whatever. Talking about that kind of stuff is one of the funnest things about fighting games, right? I mean, people do this all the time, right? I mean, what does everybody sit there and do, right? They sit there and watch Sports Center before the football season starts, and these guys are sitting around the table going, this team is going to be really strong this year because they acquired this player and they signed this, and, you know, with this new coach that they have here, I'm sure they're going to take this. Oh, well, yeah. They're already putting out a tier list of the football teams before they've played a single damn game, but people love talking about it. It's so fun. Like, it's fun to talk about that kind of thing, and I think it's great. I think having that kind of discussion is healthy. I don't see anything wrong with it. It's just people can't. I don't want them to take tier lists as gospel. It's just everybody has an opinion about it, and I think that's fun to talk about. Give us your top 10, the character you really want in Street Fighter 6. I mean, I would definitely want Saddam in there because I feel really bad that he hasn't come back at all as the only character yet from the Alpha series. Obviously, because Saddam's not. For that reason, I might want character like God. See, I can barely want to put characters like 12 and Remy and stuff in there because I still hate those characters. I still really don't like the character design of most of the Street Fighter 3 series characters. I would like to see a bunch of new characters as well. But Saddam is definitely one. Maki would be cool at some point. To be honest, a type of tier list I want to see is more people talking ranking characters with play styles. Who is the best zoner? Who is the best rushdown character? Etc. Etc. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I have a Mega Man 3 question. What is the purpose of the 4 dock robots? I mean, I'm pretty sure that, you know, they just wanted to make it seem like, oh, look, Dr. Wily still can try to recreate these old ones, but, you know, he's going to put the person out. Honestly, you know, I feel like that they were just trying to make it so that there was more content for the game, but they didn't have to animate all the different Mega Man characters. They didn't have to create sprites and stuff like that for those characters. They could just put them all in a dock robot with one frozen, you know, picture of them, and then just make the dock robot move around and everything like that. It's kind of a way to have you fight the old bosses again, but save a little bit on memory, which was a lot harder back then. Again, I know a lot of people love Mega Man 3 out there. A lot of people say it's their favorite Mega Man. For me, out of the original 6 on the regular Nintendo, it's actually probably my second to least favorite. I really did not like Mega Man 3. I really did not like the dock robot stages. I actually didn't even like fighting the dock robots. You couldn't, like, it just, I don't know, it just wasn't fun to me. There was just a lot of parts of it that wasn't fun to me. What are the actual odds of CVS3 to exist? Probably very, 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 very low, because at the time CVS2 came out, SNK was basically, like, they just couldn't get anything going. Like, nobody cared about SNK, and it was such a niche. SNK stuff was such a niche. People cared, obviously, and people played it, but the size of SNK fans compared to Capcom, so it actually helped SNK a little bit. I don't think that necessarily would be the case this time. I think SNK doesn't have any reason to do something with Capcom. And I heard SNK and Capcom don't have the greatest relationship right now. I never want to see 12 come back to Street Fighter. If 12 never came back, I would be so happy. 12 is probably in my bottom 5 list of like worst Street Fighter characters ever created, along with potentially Ingrid and maybe even a couple, like maybe Necro as well, maybe Remy. Like I said, I really don't like most of the Street Fighter 3 cast, so again, if you want to ask me a question, make sure you... Dude, they made another stretchy guy? Really? Come on. They made another stretchy guy with drills? Come on, dude. It's like you couldn't have been any less... Like, just put freaking Dalsum in the game, you know? If Necro and Dalsum were ever in the same game, we have 2 stretchy characters now? Oh, God, what a waste of a slot. Jesus. Let's just make another Dalsum. Pfft. Anyways, if CVS3 did happen, should they put in roll canceling as a feature in it? If they figured out a way to do it kind of interestingly, but no, you don't need to put roll canceling in there. It's too obtuse of a mechanic. It's not an obvious, like, it's not, unless it was just literally this groove has all special moves invincible for the first 3 frames or something like that. Maybe you can do something like that. But for the most part, I wouldn't put it back in. Do I think Seth is the last Street Fighter V character? I don't personally believe it, and I really hope he's not. Even though I don't think the game needs new characters, but obviously new characters continue to breathe life into the game, so it wouldn't hurt to have that character in there. See, the reason why I don't like the Third Strike cast, I've talked about this, is because they weren't fighters. They were freaks, right? Like, what is Necro, right? Oh, no. Well, what is Necro? Like, Necro was just some crazy experiment. And then, you know, like Urien was weird. And I don't know. It's just all these characters were really weird. But my favorite characters from Street Fighter 3 series were like Makoto, Dudley, Ibuki. Because, like, Makoto was the real Shotokan karate fighter. Dudley is actually a boxer, which is super cool. Finally, not Balrog, which was kind of lame. Ibuki is a ninja, so she fights like a ninja. But then we got freak of experimental nature, and then weird one-armed, old, kind of slimy, like, booger man, and... You know, I didn't like, see, that's why I even liked Armika more than anything, because she was a Japanese wrestler, and that existed. Like, I like having Street Fighter be the different kind of fighting style versus each other. I'm not a fan of, like, all the crazy stuff. Yeah, and the funny thing is, a lot of people actually talk about Blanca and Dhalsim being freaks. Guess who my two least favorite characters in Street Fighter 2 are? Blanca and Dhalsim. I've never liked Blanca and Dhalsim as characters before. Yeah, Q. Like, freaking what the hell is Q, dude? I don't even know what the heck is going on with Q. So yeah, I've always liked, like, actual characters that fight and have, you know, like, techniques and styles and stuff, so... Anyways, Q I've only started to learn to appreciate a little bit more because I've known David for so long, so I've become a little more sympathetic towards Q. What would I do to Cammy in Street Fighter V to make her a fun play as? I would make her more ST-like. I would make her the sprightly grappler that she used to be. You know, a character who's actually pretty weak, but has this overpowered throw move that kind of made her interesting. You know, I played her in ST, I realize now, because I played her like she was a grappler. I've always been a grappler player. I love Zangief, and I only realize now that when I play Cammy, I play her largely like a grappler, right? You use the hooligan throw as a way to get people to be less aware of stuff, and then you make them forget about the hooligan throw, and then you can catch them off guard. Are you ready for Street Fighter 6 in 2021, or would you rather release another season for Street Fighter 5? I don't believe Street Fighter 6 is coming out in 2021. I have no faith in that at all whatsoever. Everybody says that because, oh, the person's not coming back the next year for Pro Tour or whatever. They could be changing the format. It could be in anything. Right? Oh, Street Fighter looks like Seth and Gil are the last guy. You know, I don't care. I don't think it's the last year. I just don't think it's the last year, and I wouldn't want it to be the last year because Street Fighter V is in a good position, and if this is the last year, then they're wasting that again, just like they did for Ultra Street Fighter 4. Ultra Street Fighter 4 could have easily gone another year, and if they want to release Street Fighter 6 in 2021, release it in 2022. Bake it another year. Bake it another year, baby, because, like, we saw what happened when Street Fighter V Season 1 came out, okay? Give it a little more time. I would rather not have Street Fighter 6 in 2021. In fact, I hope to all hopes that Street Fighter 6 is not coming out in 2021. Where did I get those sweet Street Fighter plus Darkstalkers posters? You can find them at focusattack.com. They are Udon covers, basically. You can see they have the Udon logo on this one. You don't see the Udon. Yeah, they're Udon from their Darkstalkers versus Street Fighter series. And they made these covers, which are parodies of famous movie posters with Street Fighter and Darkstalkers characters. They were great. When I saw them, I was like, I want them to be the background of the Tuesday show. And I got them, and there they are. So, EX Axe Kick has no height restriction, but it doesn't hit overhead, so that's fine. Would dive kicks with no height restriction in Street Fighter V be broken? No, not really. I don't think that they would be that broken, depending on the character. If you design a character to have really, really crappy footsies and give them an instant dive kick, they would be fine. Will you want will you want an ST1 characters in Street Fighter 6? Would I ever want ST1? What is ST1? Unless you're just talking about Super Turbo. I'm not sure what that means. Dude, I love these posters. These posters are amazing. You can only see 4 of them. But if you see them on the Tuesday show, you'll see the other one over here, which is the Rikuo and Laura poster over here, which is really, really cool. Right, exactly. DE Climax. You can definitely design moves that way. It's a lot slower on startup. Doesn't really get combos off of it very easily. Oh, Street Fighter 1 characters. Street Fighter 1 characters. Yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind seeing some of them come back, like Geki. It would be funny to bring Geki back. I'm always, in Alpha 3, Cody was supposed to be Joe. But then after a while, they're like, nobody knows who the hell Joe is, so they switched him into Cody. That's why he was designed to be in the prison outfit. That's why, the wall looked like the Street Fighter 1 title screen in the Alpha 3 background. But then they just changed it all into a Cody thing and made up that weird storyline that Cody decided to fight everybody and they put him in jail. And it was just kind of a rework of them intentionally... at first, initially trying to put Joe into the game, but I don't know if Joe would be boring to put in the game. Like, I don't know if that would be exciting at all, so Eagle would be cool. That's why I love Street Fighter V, what they did with Cody. Not only did they kind of get rid of that whole jail, like they took him away from that jail storyline, but not only that, but they also made him just like ridiculously hot. And I think that is I love that. I love the fact that they turned Cody into like super eye candy, and he's just like, oh, he's so suave, and he's just like super handsome now. I love it. I love it. I think it's so cool. What guest character would you like most in Street Fighter V from any franchise? I thought about that a while because I think someone had asked me this question before. My answer to that actually would have been maybe putting in Jin from Tekken, but making him like Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Make him actually be the guy who threw the little fireballs that kind of stood in place. Or maybe even put Kairi from EX in there, who has a very similar kind of fireball thing. It would just be an interesting alternate mechanic to have, and just to see how it worked. What is more enjoyable to play, MK11 or Injustice 2? I think I liked MK11 better just because it was more neutral footsie based. I really did enjoy MK11. Injustice 2 was... I don't know, Injustice 2 was fun too, as well. I just didn't play it as much. I never got to play it as much. But I really enjoyed both of the games. They're really fun. What's up, Catalyst? Wow, I'm at 246 now. I'm 4 away. And that's right, I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about that a little bit as well. I'm 246 away from the goal. I said at 250 I would buy a new chair, but I had one very, very generous person on stream donate to me, a very gracious amount of money to buy a new chair. And then I got to 241 subs and I said, let's do it. Let's just get the new chair now. So I bought a new chair today. Unfortunately, I don't have it yet. It'll arrive later on this week. Someone asked me what the name of the chair was. I don't think the chair is going to be available like on a national level. The store that I bought it from is maybe you can order it online from Trader Boys, but there's a store out here in Culver City, in Santa Monica area, I should say, called Trader Boys. Actually, I think it is more Los Angeles, Culver City. It's somewhere in that area. It's called Trader Boys. They're a family-owned business that has existed since like 1940. The guy that I was talking to said that it was his grandfather who opened up the store. All their parts, everything that they use to make all the chair is right here in Southern California. They have lifetime warranties for all their chairs. And so they're a really, really good company. And, they even said that since everything is made here, like if an arm breaks off, you can just buy a new arm and then just put it on there. They'll be willing to sell you that arm. If the cushion ever goes bad, that counts as something that would be covered under the warranty that you could probably try to get replaced or something to that extent. It's a really nice place, but I wanted this chair with a net mesh seat. The ones that they had, I didn't like as much as the chair that I did get. The chair that I did get has a vinyl cushion that's very good, and the guy told me that nobody who's ever gotten the chair has ever had any problems with the vinyl going flat or anything, that it's always, it's a special cushion designed to always maintain its form and shape and softness. But the back is mesh, but not only is the back netting mesh, but so is a lumbar support. Like the back literally is like this, and then there's a lumbar support mesh right here, and it's so so comfortable. Like it's just like leaning on it is super comfortable. The arms are a little bit like kind of vinyl as well. They're really nice, and there's a good headrest back there as well, so I'll be able to put my head back on it and sit back comfortably if I need to. It's got plenty of space on the front that I can sit cross-legged on it if I want to, because I like sitting cross-legged on chairs sometimes. Some of the netted ones that I did try out over there, like they taper off in the front, so you can't really sit cross-legged very well on them. So it's actually really nice. I'm really happy with the chair. It was a very expensive chair, but you know, it's one of those things that I figured I'll invest a lot of money into, thanks to all the gift subs, all the donations and everything like that. And that way I can make sure I take care of myself. I think that's just, it's too important not to, especially since I basically sit in this chair for like 8 to 10 hours a day these days, just streaming and editing and streaming and editing and streaming and editing. And it's very, 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 very tired. So it's kind of nice. So unbox it to the sound of Ningen Isu. I don't even know what Ningen Isu is. So, Cork City, Ireland. Yeah, it's a little far. It's a little far. I don't think it's real leather. No, it's not leather. It's not a leather chair. If it was actual leather, I might have not actually bought it, because I think I would have felt uncomfortable having the real leather on there. Japanese heavy metal band. Hey, Nutsaq 16, how very appropriate that you have subscribed. Suck my nuts, Nutsaq. Suck my nuts. Nut my sack? No, that sounds really bad. Anyways, suck my nuts, Nutsaq. Thank you very much. The SFX roster has to be more than 16 fighters. That launch was unforgivable. I don't agree with that, Richard Ford. I think people are asking for too much. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, in the 5th season of Street Fighter V, we have 40 characters. That's so many characters. We have so many characters. Like, let the game grow organically. If you put too many characters in at the beginning, it becomes too intimidating and people won't play it. I actually don't think 16 is a bad number of characters to start with at all. Most fighting games don't have that many characters to start with, to be honest with you. But yes, if there can be 16 characters with very different game plans, which is not what Season 1 was like. But if Season 1 had 16 characters that all played very differently like the latest Street Fighter V characters, it would have been fantastic. I would have been fine with it. Like, I like the fact that Grand Blue has 11 characters right now. It's much easier to learn. It's much easier to get into. I don't have to learn like 17 different character setups and everything like that. It's kind of nice, to be honest with you. Having a good character variety is obviously a great thing, and most people want that out of their fighting games, but I think people are overstating the importance of having more than 16 characters. I think 16 is a great starting number. I mean, Street Fighter 2 came out with 4. There were 4 characters, and after, 5 versions of it, it ended with 16. Right? It ended with 17 characters, one of which was banned from everything. It ended up with the same amount that Street Fighter V started with, and yet Super Turbo is one of the greatest fighting games of all time. Do you think the original 16 played different enough now? Or is it just because of balance of the new characters? I think the original 16 still have less variety than some of the other characters. And it's interesting because some of them just haven't gotten really much stronger. Like Nash's might still be a little weak. But, they've definitely done things. They've gotten better. But, I mean, characters like Cammy still exist, which is just an unforgivably boring character. That basically does nothing except dive kick. Like, dive kick is our whole entire deviance from the Street Fighter V norm, and that always makes me sad. So really, Season 1 characters are still a little bit weak on the variety side, but obviously characters like Rashid exist, and Rashid is super cool. Dalsum, Zangief are very, very cool as well. I think Ken and Mika, like I used to think Ken and Mika were the same character in Season 1, but now Ken and Mika are very different from each other. So I feel like they've done a better job with the Season 1 characters. Fang obviously doesn't play like anybody either. So I feel like they did. Laura is very interesting now. Yeah. So I feel like they've done a good job. I feel like they did a good job with that. So. Okay. Street Fighter 4 Arcade, when it first came out, I believe was 16 characters as well. I believe it was 16 characters as well. There was 8 of the original 8 returned. And then the original bosses returned, and there were 4 brand new characters. I believe that's all there was 16 characters. So was there 12? No. I think it was 16 because like Balrog and Sagat and all those guys were in it, right? The original 8, the 4 original bosses, and then the 4 brand new characters. I believe that was 16. Why is Nash weak? Nash is just weak because I don't know. I don't know if he's even as weak as everybody keeps saying that he is. I don't know if he's actually that weak, but usually just what happens in Street Fighter V, the difference between being strong and weak is having a good robbery V-trigger, having some good buttons, and then also just being able to have good Oki situations. And I don't think Nash, like his V-triggers aren't very good. His V-triggers are both kind of, you know, I mean, both kind of not interesting, so... What do you think KOF needs to do to stick with Americans? It's pretty big in other places, but not so much here. I mean, I think if they just make the game with good netcode, I think that would go a long way, to be honest with you. One of the reasons why people didn't play 14 because the netcode was bad. People didn't play 13 because the netcode was bad. Every time you come out with a bad netcode game in America, like, people don't like really playing it all that much, right? We're in a different time now that games like Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, even with not awesome netcode, people will still play it. So that actually benefits KOF 15. But if they came out with really, really good netcode, rollback netcode, Code Mystics netcode, and the game was super playable online from the get-go, it'll be super successful in America. I think it'll be very, very successful. I do think Ryu is still pretty weak as well. But yeah, netcode is something that's really, really important. So Charlie is one of the most interesting characters in the series. You think so? I think you and I just have very different tastes on interesting characters, Richard Ford. With a controller in mind. I mean, it kind of is, isn't it? I mean, KOF has always been a 4-button game, so it's kind of works that way. Has anyone been keeping up with the Topanga League? I have not. Strive needs to have good netcode. Yes, I agree with that. What current fighting games do you think are the least dependent on frame data and more dependent on the heart? Number 1 is Samurai Showdown. Number 2 is Grand Blue Fantasy Versus right now. Although Grand Blue Fantasy Versus frame data is important because there are some things that are plus. The things that are plus are very rare. And there's a lot of things that are negative in the enemy's turn now. But it's so universal, and most things are that you can really learn on the fly. You could really just play it on the fly, and you just figure out, like, oh, after this move, if they hit a button, I just better block. And you just kind of get used to that, right? So a lot of characters put themselves in that situation. MVC, yeah, Guilty Gear aren't very frame data heavy. Those games aren't particularly frame data heavy, mostly because they have target combos and jump cancels and so many ways to keep yourself safe on block anyway. If you ever put yourself next to somebody and have to worry about turns in MVC or in Guilty Gear, you are playing the game absolutely wrong. There's something the matter with what you're doing because it just so very rarely happens. SF5, MK11, Tekken 7 are all math class. I just wish they stopped killing him. Oh, man. If I play Vasaraga, you need some frame data knowledge, period. Yeah, I mean, I guess. It's not even frame data that you need to learn. It's just that if you block something, you know that it's his turn because he has this big windy startup on it. It's not like this button just happens to be plus because it's crouching strong because it's Karen. And then this button's plus because it's standing strong because it's Cammy. And, you know, this button's +1 because it's Colleen and it's crouching medium kick, even though everybody else's crouching medium kick is negative. You know, it's not like that. It's clearly you see Vasaraga going, pow, and then you're negative, and then he gets to attack first, and you're like, well, that makes sense because it's a really slow move and it looks powerful, and I go into this different kind of block stun. So it's a very different kind of thing. It's a very different kind of thing. Strive with good netcode could be their heir apparent to Street Fighter V. Yeah, for sure. Dragon Ball doesn't really require frame data knowledge, except, yeah, it doesn't really. Just when you get a vanish blocked, you know it's not your turn at this point in time. What's my favorite stage in the series? Ken's crossover cruise in Alpha 2 for me. I don't... You guys are asking me tough questions here. Tough questions. KOF is always that one game I really wish I had more time to get into. Do you have a specific game that you don't play now that you really want to spend more time on? All of them? I mean, I'm not playing Tekken right now. I want to play more Tekken. The one game that I regret never actually becoming even remotely competent in is MVC2. I always wish I knew how to play MVC2, to be honest with you, because I can't play that game worth crap. Like, even if you threw MSP in my hands or MSS or, you know, Santhrax or whatever, I would literally not have any idea what I'm doing. Like, I know nothing about MVC2 play-wise. Like, I watch it and I know what to expect, but if you told me to go and sit down and do it, I would not be able to do any of it. So... well, it's 5:40 right now, so I've been babbling for a really long time. So let's go ahead and call this AskJCHENSOR now. So I'm going to go stop the AskJCHENSOR. I'll just answer a few more of these lingering questions, and then we'll play online. Let's take a look at my poll real quick and find out where we're at. If I go to the poll, if I do a beginner lobby, which game would you want to have played? It looks like UNICLR is the clear winner. At 57% versus 43%. So we will be playing some Under Night in Birth on stream after this. So there you go. There was a poll on Twitter. I put the poll on Twitter. So I guess I'll be playing that. When I start it up, it will look like Unist because that's just how it works on the PS4, but it will clearly be UNICLR. So keep that. Be ready for that. But thanks, guys, for tuning in for the AskJCHENSOR section today on February 24th for just, you know, hanging out, asking me questions. And I like chatting with you guys. I love having a good time. I love interacting with you guys. Shout-outs to everybody in the chat. Richard Ford, Neo Cable, Eli Hendricks, Greeting Oni, Texman, Catalyst, Nutacon, Darth Pro Man, Man of Peerless Might, I already said Neo Cable. VSav Dyer. Oh, Dyer. VSav Dyer. What's up, Dyer? Speedwagon. KLB. Yoshi for the win. This time I'm going to say it on purpose, etc., etc. Thank you all for tuning in. If you guys enjoy the content, I mean, I'm 4 subs away from getting 250. Do we want to hit 250 for this particular stream? Can I say that I got 250 for my chair that I also purchased today, and then we can start with a new goal potentially on Tuesday or Wednesday? Or shall I wait till maybe later on while I'm doing that stream to find out if we get there? So but if you are a fan, definitely thank you for the subscriptions, the gift subs, and bits, donations, and any other way that you have contributed to my stream. And on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. Who would you want in Street Fighter 6? Let me know who you would like to see in Street Fighter 6 if it had to be a guest character from another franchise. Okay, I'm going to limit it to that. If you wanted a guest character from another franchise, who do you want to see in Street Fighter 6? Leave a comment below, like and subscribe. Thanks, guys, for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time here on AskJCHENSOR / The Chen Reaction. Peace out.